Bitcoin just made a brand new all-time high by a few dollars, but today's video is a warning. Do not get caught with your pants down. We'll be going over the recent Bitcoin price action, of course, going over Ethereum, and going over the news in the market. Also, we'll be talking about whether or not this summer chop thesis is invalidated. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Let's jump right into the video. So there we have it, a brand new all-time high for Bitcoin. And if I zoom into the chart here, you can see that this top yellow line, the previous all-time high was exactly 112,006. And today we set a brand new all-time high, 112,017. So we made a new all-time high by just over $10. The question you might have now is the summer chop invalidated? Well, no. As we can see here, yes, we made a new all-time high by about $10. However, as I stated in a lot of my other videos, we need to see continuation to the upside for this summer chop thesis to be invalidated. I spoke about it many times, how there was a strong likelihood that we could go grab some liquidity to the upside before potentially moving lower. And I think this is what we're seeing right now. Now, it may be bold of me to say this, and it also may be bold of me to say, I'm warning you, be careful here, because there are way more longs in the market. If I flip to my tab here, we can see that yes, there's a little bit of liquidity to the upside from people trying to short the exact top. However, if I go on this chart, we can see that on the right here, around $3.4 billion worth of cumulative short liquidation leverage, and on the left here, over $16 billion worth of cumulative long liquidation leverage. I'm telling you right now, this is a warning. Please be careful. Even if we get continuation to the upside, I would be expecting Bitcoin to move lower first before we go ahead and move higher. That being said though, that is not my base case. I do think that the summer chop thesis is still well and truly underway. The reason being, we did not get a very strong close above this level. As I said multiple times, we start getting closes above this level. Then all of a sudden we get a daily candle to $115,000. At that point, I will come on the channel and say the summer chop thesis is invalidated. However, it was always within my expectation that we would be grabbing liquidity to the upside as a lot of people went short and a lot of people started piling into shorts. As a matter of fact, my most recent short position actually hit my stop loss after we took some profits. And if you're in my community, you know this as well. That being said, I do think that Bitcoin will likely move lower from here. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I will always own up to my mistakes. But right now, we expected a pump to grab that liquidity to the upside, and so it's time to see what happens for Bitcoin. If you're a bull here, you want to see us get daily closes above $112,000, and then at that point, we could potentially see continuation to the upside. But for now, I still think that we are within a range. Now, this is a range within the range because there is also the likelihood here that perhaps the range is like this and we are just hovering above $100,000 to $112,000 as our summer chop range. It's very difficult to tell what the range would be. However, if we end up closing back within this range, at that point, I would say that the summer chop thesis continues. You might get annoyed of me saying this, but I'm not giving up on this thesis quite yet. A lot of you have been sending me messages today saying, hey, we made a new all-time high. Is the summer chop thesis invalidated? In my opinion, no, it is not. We've said many times, we collected liquidity to the high, and now there is way more longs in the market than shorts, which to me suggests that if Bitcoin really is strong here, it will continue higher. However, if the summer chop thesis is well and truly underway, we will likely come back down at this point. And as I've always said, most of my spot portfolio is still in Bitcoin because it gives you the best risk-adjusted returns. That's whether or not Bitcoin breaks down or breaks up. I'm trying to guide you through the market as best as possible. Something else that's very interesting that I want to show you, Ethereum got a pretty interesting breakout here. However, we can see that last time we got this breakout outside of this very, very tedious range was right over here on June 11th. Then we came right back down to the bottom of the range, marking a deviation to the top and to the bottom. Now, are we going to break out of this range for Ethereum? Because I know a lot of you were asking me, well, is this the time for altcoins to start performing well? Because Ethereum is performing well. If Ethereum can break out of here and we see ETH Bitcoin really explode out of this bull market support band and hold it as support, then at that point, altcoins may indeed be the play. But as I've said, and as I continue to warn you, if Bitcoin rolls over here, altcoins will get absolutely annihilated. And so I just want you to be careful. I know there's going to be a lot of moon boys saying, we made a new all-time high, this is it, we're going to keep on exploding much higher. I'm telling you, operate with a little bit of caution. And if you caught the longs from a little bit lower, this is of course an excellent area to be taking some profits on those longs. So right now, I still think that we're going to grab some liquidity a little bit lower. Maybe you don't like that stance, but that's okay. I'm here to provide as honest analysis as possible, and this is exactly how I'm operating within this market. I'm hiding nothing. I saw a comment the other day saying, this guy is trying to get his followers wrecked. Why would I do that? I'm sharing exactly how I'm operating in this market. The purpose of this channel is for you to get as much value as possible. I've been wrecked before, and I don't want this to happen to you. So let's move on to some other news, because there is a crazy announcement coming out, and that is the fact that Pump Fund are going ahead and launching their next token. And if you've been following me for a while, you know that I've made most of my money this cycle shorting new launches. And Pump Fund generated just under $700 million in all-time fees. So this is going to be a massive launch. Obviously, super profitable company. However, we can see that this profitability has continued to decrease over the past few months, and right now we are basically at all-time lows. I think that this is going to be an excellent shorting opportunity. So how am I going to operate here? Because we know that it's going to be listed on Binance Futures, and typically when a project of this magnitude is listed on Binance Futures, it makes for an excellent short. Now, it doesn't mean that you want to go ahead and short it immediately off of launch. Actually, I'd rather wait for confirmations before we fail to make new highs after making an initial high, because this project could easily pump very early on before seeing a massive dump. And if we scroll down here, we can see that we're getting some more details from Pump Fund, but ultimately, to unlock further growth, they're saying that they're going to launch Pump, which is the official native token of Pump Fund protocols. Pump will grow the Pump Fund ecosystem by delivering value to its community and incentivizing the ecosystem that continues helping the platform to succeed. While the token will be fully functional at launch, we're giving thorough consideration to utility mechanisms like fee rebates, token buybacks, or other incentives and promotions. Now, here's what's very interesting. The maximum supply is 1 trillion and will be distributed as follows. 33% will be sold in the initial coin offering, 24% reserved for community and ecosystem initiatives, 20% to the team, 2.4% to the ecosystem fund, 2% for the foundation, 13% to existing investors, 3% for live streaming, and 2.6% for liquidity and exchanges. Now, a lot of people might see this and think, wow, this is pretty decent. But if you've been following the channel, you know what we think about Pump Fund. They just try to extract as much value as possible from their users, and they try to make as much money as possible. Which is why my main thesis for this token is that after the initial pump, it will likely have a massive dump. And if this token goes into the several billions of dollars of valuation, obviously the dump will be epic. And this is where we can capitalize on this with a very nice short in my free Telegram community. Again, if you want to know exactly how I'm operating and trading this token, you have the first link in my description down below, which brings you to my free Telegram community. It is right over here. You click that, and then you send me a message to join my signals group, and this is where we will be trading this token. But just to let you know beforehand, to be able to join the signals group, you do have to sign up with one of my affiliate exchange links to start your trading journey there. You trade as you normally would, it's completely free, but I just need you to go ahead and sign up with one of my links to join that. If you want to join again, first link in my description down below. But anyways, I think this is going to be an epic short. And with their initial coin offering, 33% of the token supply is being sold, 18% in a private sale for institutional purchasers, and 15% in the public sale. Here's what's interesting. The private sale has already been fully allocated. All tokens sold as a part of the ICO will be fully unlocked on day one of the token becoming tradable. Each token will be sold at a price of 0.004. Now, I think that the private investors will likely want to dump this token. However, they're going to be waiting for a pump, so make sure you're careful here. Is there an opportunity to make money by actually getting into this token before the pump? Yes, of course. But if you've been following the channel, you know that this isn't my cup of tea. I like to wait and try to short this token with leverage and make as much profits as possible on the way down. A lot of these coins end up being shit coins. And as I said, if we reach the billions of dollars in valuation, we can make so much money coming right back down. Now, the rest of this post kind of just goes over how you can actually partake in the public sale. So I will make sure to leave this link in my comments down below if you want to read up more on this. But ultimately, I am really looking to short this because I think it will be an amazing opportunity to make some very nice gains in a choppy market. You might get annoyed every single time that I say it's a choppy market, but until we start getting confirmation above the previous all-time high, this, in my opinion, was just a liquidity grab. Let's see what happens. As I've shared many times before, I'm positioned either way. I like shorting this market. However, if Bitcoin just decides to rip much higher, I have my Bitcoin spot portfolio ready to go and ready to make some nice profits. We bought Bitcoin right around 16 to 20K, and so it allows you to operate in the market relatively stress-free. As I said in my previous video, I am so excited for the bear market, which might sound counterintuitive, because I can share exactly when I will be buying Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies aggressively near the bear market lows. And if the 4-year cycle is still well and truly intact, then we should have a bear market in 2026 where Bitcoin perhaps drops as much as 60%. So let's see what happens there, because I'm looking forward to accumulate at lower levels and share it with you on this channel and within the community. Next thing I wanted to show you here, Bitcoin dominance. I know that this is going to be a huge topic because we are seeing some red candles here on the weekly time frame. Now, does this mean altcoin season will start? Well, as I've said before, we're still riding the Bitcoin dominance train, and we did get rejected at 66%, but my base case is that we will likely find our way back above this range and Bitcoin dominance will continue to increase. Now, how is the broader market doing? One thing I wanted to go over just quickly is Amazon Prime Day sales fell 41% in the first day of their 4-day event. The reason I'm bringing this up is because it kind of tells us how consumer spending is going. And yesterday, Jeff Bezos sold $665 million worth of Amazon shares before this Prime Day event. But it's weird because stocks and crypto are at all-time highs. Meanwhile, consumer spending is going lower and lower and lower. There are multiple indicators of slowing consumer spending in the US. Meanwhile, the odds of the US entering a recession in 2025 just hit a new low of 19% per Kalshi, which is the betting market. We are seeing a massive divergence between consumer spending and the overall economic data. The market has completely priced out near-term tariff uncertainty. And speaking of tariffs over here, we can see that President Trump sends out more tariff letters with the following tariff rates now announced: 50% Brazil, 36% Cambodia, 36% Thailand, 35% Bangladesh, and so on and so forth. You can see the list here. These tariffs are set to go live on August 1st. President Trump says any retaliation will be met with increased tariffs. Trump also says that there will be no further tariff pause extensions. So, on August 1st, does this mean that the market will just dump, or is all of this just priced in? Will we just continue to pump, and is the summer chop over? I don't think so, as I've said many times in this video. So let's see how it plays out. The last thing I wanted to show you in this video today is that the social risk is still basically at zero. Guys, Bitcoin just put in a brand new all-time high, and no one is here, which is also a pretty good indicator that we won't be getting an aggressive altcoin season anytime soon until retail starts trickling back into the market. And yes, I do believe we will have a point in time in this cycle where retail will start stepping in and buying some of those altcoins. But right now, it really is just us against the institutions. And that sums up today's video. Bitcoin just made a brand new all-time high, but the summer chop thesis has still not been invalidated because we talked about how this all-time high could be touched, grabbing that liquidity, and then potentially moving lower. If we start to get those daily closes above $112,000 and Bitcoin continues to trickle on higher like nothing happened, then of course, the summer chop thesis would be invalidated. But I'm looking forward to updating you as it develops on a daily basis. In the meantime, tariffs continue, and one of the most profitable crypto companies ever, Pump Fund, are about to launch their new token, which I am preparing to short in my community. Again, if you want to join that is the first link in my description down below. And that's a wrap. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.